Hello guys, Admiral here, and I got Evan again.
Just got back from vacation. Happy to talk about Pokemon.
That's right. So we're a little late on this Pokemon news just because Evan was out of town, and I wanted to wait for him since the last discussion we did came out so good. So now we're at it again, and we got some new Alolan Pokemon, some new Pokemon from the actual region. We got Hyper Training, and we got Pokemon Skull. Not Pokemon Skull, Team Skull, right?
Team Skull.
Alright, so we're going to be talking about all that. So the first one Evan here wanted to start out with was Alolan Marowak.
Because you totally called this.
I did. I called it. I don't really want to take credit for it, though, because it was kind of hidden on the website. There's a lot of people online like oh, I called it.
Yeah, there were a lot of people, but like you still said it, and we have it on recording, and it showed up, so I thought we should talk about it first, just for the sake of that.
So this right here, we got the Alolan Marowak, the Bone Keeper Pokemon, Fire and Ghost. Its abilities: Curse Body, which is an amazing ability. I wish that all Ghost types had Curse Body, and Lightning Rod, which is actually not a bad mix-up.
Yeah, it's like for me, I would prefer Lightning Rod over Curse Body, but you'd obviously prefer Curse Body.
Right.
It's like I think Curse Body can really throw monkey wrenches in plans. It's kind of like, but it's kind of like Static, and Static is not a super common ability, but one that can come in handy occasionally. Lightning Rod I find a little more consistent because it just gives him an added resistance, even if he won't use a special attack boost probably. We've also seen that he probably learns a new either Ghost or Fire type Bone move, and hopefully he'll retain his Ground type ones as well, so that'll give him some good coverage.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. So it says the Marowak in the Alola region takes bones and lights both end on fire by rubbing them against its forehead.
Which explains the black mark on it.
Yeah. Then they spin the bones around. Marowak's rarity and its fearsome ability when it dances with its bones led to people of the Alola to dub it a conjured and regarded it with fear. So that means it's pretty rare. It doesn't show up often.
So it sounds like it's a rarer Pokemon.
Yeah.
The fire typing is because it's got a lot of grass type Pokemon it's weak to, because the Alola region is apparently full of them. It's like I imagine it also be full of water types too, but I guess it lives inland, so it doesn't run into them as much.
So it says there are many grass-type Pokemon, Marowak's natural enemies in the Alola region. This makes Alola a harsh environment for Cubone and Marowak. As a result, they live in close union with their parents. It is said that It is said that their great care for their partners allow them to gain something with a sixth sense, resulting in their changed form.
Yeah, well,
that's kind of weird.
That actually does go against what Cubone and Marowak are known for, being lonely Pokemon who kind of keep to themselves. So if they need like partnership, I can kind of see how that might spark something. Maybe not something so drastic, but something.
Oh, it says the Alolan Marowak proves skilled at an attack in which it waves its bone and releases a ball of flame. The fireballs are not that powerful, but they tirelessly pursue the foe. So what if they hit you even when you try to pursue?
That'd be cool. It's like his own custom pursuit move.
Yeah.
Like something different than Dark is also stab. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah. It would be cool if like you switch out, but then your Pokemon still faints. That would be hype. Yeah. All right. So, anything else you want on him?
He's super skinny. Yeah. I think that's kind of interesting.
They did slim him up a little bit.
Yeah. It's like there isn't much difference. The skull is basically the same. It's just the artwork is changed a bit, so it looks a little different. Bone's a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Overall, I kind of like the fact that he's slimmed down. I think it's interesting and it gives him a bit more visual distinction other than the color.
I agree. Okay, now we have the Alolan Meowth, the Scratch Pokemon, and he's a Dark type.
Which you thought was kind of redundant because we already have Purloin.
Yeah, we already have Purloin, so they're going to have to change it up a bit for me. But I will say that it does help better complement the moveset of Meowth with, Bite, Pursuit, Night Slash, all those moves that he learns. So I guess that helps out a little bit.
It's a little sad that Payday isn't Stab anymore for him, though, because Payday's normal type.
It says that Meowth did not originally live in the Alola region. They were sent to the royal line as offering from another region, and only a few could have them as partners. The Meowth and Alola are distinct for their cunning and their great pride, two things that really hate: a wound to their pride or dirt in their coat on their coins. Okay, if either one happens, they fly into a hysterics. It is said that the Meowth that were offered to the royal family lived a life of luxury and pampering, which led them to have a selfish and prideful attitude. This caused Meowth's form to change.
I think that's a little silly. I think it would just be like different region selective breeding. But I guess they don't want to talk about selective breeding in Pokemon, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, this one seems to make sense a lot. The once rare Alolan Meowth became feral when the monarchy was destroyed, and they have been regular Pokemon seen as commonly in the Alola region as otherwise. So this one makes a little more sense if they were just bred.
You know that those are cool because Hawaii had trouble with rats, which is why they brought mongooses to get rid of the rats. And then they had a mongoose problem, which what they did is they got a bunch of feral cats to come in and to get rid of the mongooses. And most of the cats just happen to be black because black is actually a very common color. So that's why I really like this a lot because it lets me know that Game Freak and Nintendo, they don't just pump out content, they actually do the research. So instead of giving us a new Pokemon, they basically, hey, why don't we redesign one that we already have? And I think that's beautiful to me. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I wonder if we're gonna learn more about the monarchy.
Even though it's
mentioned that.
Yeah, that's something I want to find out about. And even when you look at his at the way he looks, it is still a Meowth, but the way he stands and carries himself, the eyes and everything, it shows you that it has a different attitude than most other Meowths.
It looks different.
I do like that a lot.
They did a good job at making it look very different. All right, next we have the Alolan Raichu.
The first electric psychic type.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good typing. Ability electric, Surge Surfing,
Surge Surfer. Which is the ability I'm the most excited about of any ability we've seen.
It says the Pokemon speed will be doubled on electric terrain.
Yeah, the terrains were introduced in Gen 6 and were very underutilized. They're very good. A lot of people don't know they actually have secondary effects like electric terrain, for instance. Like I think it prevents sleep on the ground is what it says, but it also gives 1.5 times bonus to electric moves. Same thing for grassy terrain, boosting grass moves, and then misty terrain cuts dragon-type moves in half. I think there's also one more, but I forget what it is.
See, I like this because if you do double battles, now we know for a fact that people are going to do like Tapu Koko and this, because Tapu Koko already turns the field into electric.
Yeah, so like Raichu will get a huge power boost from the terrain as well as getting the speed boost.
So you can't sleep.
Yeah.
So what happens if
flying
you use...
type Pokemon can be put to sleep.
But what happens if you use like rest?
It wouldn't work. It would cut your opponent from using rest.
Oh, yeah, it would, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like Worry Seed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually love the design for this a lot. And like I was talking to you guys earlier, I would love for Puka or some type of mention of Puka, which is the Surfing Pikachu
from the anime
from Season 1, to not make a cameo or a mention or something. Maybe talk about maybe Puka used to live or was from here. Because Puka had his blue eyes, and when you look at the picture of Raichu right here, this Raichu has blue eyes, which I think I would love to have. Sorry about that. I would love to have a Pikachu or a Raichu with blue eyes.
Yeah, it's like because this is something we didn't mention about Marowak, but in the trailer where they were kind of showing these off, or one of the trailers, it might be the Japanese one, they showed a normal Pikachu and a normal Cubone evolving, but they didn't actually show the full evolution process. So we don't know if there is an Alolan variant of the pre-evolutions or if they evolve from something that looks like the normal ones. So like I prefer if there was an Alolan version, even if it was like the same type, just looked a little different. Because if there's no visual distinction, how are you supposed to know which one it evolves into? Like Ground Marowak or Fire Ghost Marowak. Also, I do not want Cubone to be Fire Ghost. I prefer it was pure fire, just because it wouldn't make sense if it was a ghost.
I do agree. Not only that, have you guys talked already about Cubone? Here? Okay, I'll say something about that. But I do like, because a lot of electric Pokemons have really high special attack already, and psychic types are known to have special attacks, so I can see this being more of a glass cannon where his special attack stats and speed are really high up, but maybe lowering his defense, because these two typings go so good together for the fact that
like speed and offense,
it does really well.
Although there's one thing about the description I really love, which is even Pokemon researchers don't know why Raichu's form changed in the Alola region. The people of Alola seem unconcerned by the question. Their guess, maybe it ate too many sweet and fluffy round pancakes. So there's no reason at all why this thing exists. Like they give reasons for everyone else, like Meowth was raised by royalty. Marowak turned to a fire type to hunt the grass types that would hunt it. Sandshrew got moved to icy regions after volcanic eruptions. Raichu has no purpose. It's just there because it's Pikachu, probably.
Yeah.
Now on Cubone, I do like, because we know that in Hawaii they do a lot of ceremonial trials and that kind of stuff, and they already wear like the skull mask. They do wear like tiki masks and all that stuff, and I kind of like that design. again, this props to Game Freak. They do their research, and they didn't just, again, that's another sample that they didn't just pump out another Pokemon. They gave us one that already exists and just give them a redesign. But I do agree with you. I wish it was fire only.
Yeah. Well, I can understand Marowak being it because of the huge ties Cubone has to the dead.
Yeah.
But Cubone itself, it wouldn't make sense for it to be Ghost because, it's, like, it just wouldn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a reason. I just forget what it was.
All right, and now we got more
Morel. I think it's it. It's
Morel.
either Morlul or Morelul.
That sounds like another Pokemon we're gonna mispronounce. So this is a grass and fairy type, which is weird. It looks like it would be a grass and poison.
Well, I
type.
think it's because it's based on a luminous mushroom. So, like, I think that's where the fairy comes from. It's like,
so it's not a Corso.
No, it's not Corso.
Okay.
No, it's a different type.
It says Morel are nocturnal Pokemon that walk around at night with their leg-like roots. They move because staying in one spot and sucking all the nutrients from the soil would cause the surrounding plants to wither. See, but then it sounds like a Cordyceps though when you read it. Morel uses its leg-like roots to make contact with its fellows and communicate with them.
Well, Cordyceps are more like possessed things. That's
you know what?
Paris thing.
But then it says Morelos broadcast spores that grow brightly when they burst open. Looking at their pulsing light has a
Soporific effect.
Yeah, so it might be.
Yeah, I think it's just based on a luminous mushroom. I think it's cute. I'm not. It's probably gonna evolve, and that's when I'll actually have an opinion on it. Illuminate is a horrible ability. It has no purpose. Effect Spores is an okay ability. I kind of wish it had a better one.
Well, the thing with Effect Spores is that you have to physically touch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's random what happens
and
too.
when you use a fire type, you usually use Ember, or some type of special move. Now I will say
that's changing though, because they do have some physical ones now, but they're not as.
But like mainly your starter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, your starter's gonna be using Ember. It's not gonna be using like Flame Charge.
The reason I like this is because instead of using, maybe they can do something where maybe, I'm all for us not having to do or use TMs.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the idea of this Pokemon maybe holding it in your hand to walk in a dark cave.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, because it's kind of gimmicky. And
or maybe where it just glows naturally.
Yeah,
so like you can't catch those, but they're just sitting there and used as lighting along trails.
Oh, that would look nice.
Yeah,
that'd be a very good visual effect. I will say one other thing. I love its description because it's very indicative of actual mushrooms, which are actually very good for the environment if they're there. They actually have like this huge kind of root system underneath them, which they communicate with each other and other plants, and let other plants communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very cool. That they're using that as part of its description.
So next we have, I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Dookumuku.
This is his actual name.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I love this guy. He's so cute.
All right, so he's a sea cucumber.
Who punches things with his stomach.
Yeah, his ability is innards out. I think he might be a water and fighting if he has an evolution. No, if he
evolves. Maybe.
Yeah, if he evolves.
I'm not sure he will.
I'm lactose intolerant, and I think I have the same ability as he does.
Yeah.
I love his ability though, because his ability makes me think even if he doesn't evolve and he's pretty weak, he could be sent in just as like a counter switch in, because his ability, what it does is when he's hit and knocked out, your opponent takes damage equal to the damage you just took. So if you've got 183 HP and you get one shot, you're dealing 183 damage to the opponent that knocks you out.
Yeah.
So that can be a very good, just like you might just have it as a sacrificial play. It's like you don't want someone to get knocked out, you throw him in, he gets knocked out, but the Pokemon that knocked him out, which was like whatever Pokemon you're protecting was good weakness, that gets knocked out too, and then you get your other thing back out. So I can imagine this guy being very meta if only for the sacrificial play. You might run it with 0 defense IVs and just max HP IVs, just so that it can be knocked out and knock out your opponent.
Okay, Evan, give everybody the strategy now.
My thing is, though, I think it's going to be a water and fighting when it evolves, because they keep putting so much emphasis on this fist-like inner organs or punching.
But you also have to remember, Ambipump's not a fighting type, and he's very gimmicky when it comes to the punches.
That's true.
Just straight normal.
That's
Actually, like I said, I like Evan's idea where he doesn't evolve. I do want it to evolve into an enemy.
Yeah.
Because sea cucumbers do resemble anemones. Is that what I'm pronouncing that right? I don't know.
Anemone.
Thank you.
It's hard to pronounce. I have to say it slow myself.
Yeah. It does resemble those, and I like that ability. And imagine one, like, of course this will work better in the anime than the game, but imagine one where you have an enemy that has like one of the tentacles kind of comes out and attacks.
Yeah,
and kind of hit things.
That's the
also,
first thing
the
I
fact
thought
that
of.
it's water, you can give it Power Whip, which will be a grass move, but it'll be a cool move for it to have.
That would be neat. I
Because-
wanted to learn Ice Punch just because that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be
But
awesome.
the reason I like the idea of him learning Power Whip is because Power Whip's always given to those Pokemon that either can use Bind Whip or have a tentacle or a long tongue or something.
Or Long Tongue. I was just thinking, like, it's like that's one of the signature moves I always think of when I think of Lick a Tongue and Licky Licky.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's one of the ones he actually learns naturally.
it's good ones.
All right, now we got Wishy Washy.
Hey.
Yeah, this is one of the Pokemon I'm the most interested in just because its ability is worded so bizarrely.
I already
Yeah.
agreed that he's gonna be the Pokemon that I catch. Like he's gonna be in my party.
So his ability is schooling.
Take you to school.
Yeah, boy. Let's see. What does it say? Wishy Washy can change form in battle to their school form under special conditions.
Yeah, it's like the way they've been wording it makes it sound like it's an evolution, but it's able to revert, so the ability kind of takes place of the evolution. And its school form is very crazy. Like, Gyarados are scared of it. It's huge to 26 feet.
Jesus.
It's almost 27 feet, actually.
Yeah, 26
Like,
feet.
it's just a bunch of these Wishy-Washy just swarmed up into a big bunch. But by the way they word it, it sounds like this activates at a certain level. And it kind of, by the look at the trailers, it kind of looks like it acts like Arcan's Defeatist ability. So where it hits a certain level, it will revert. But I feel like when it reverts might depend on like what level it is, if it's being treated like an evolution. Like, the more powerful your original Wishy-Washy is, the longer it's able to stay in this form type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's just my guess, though.
See, when I see this, first of all, I'm a big fan of it, and I told you guys before this, I was a big fan of it already.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it weighs 175 pounds lets me know that this might not be a Pokemon that's going to tank hits. And I know weight has nothing to do with defense,
Mm-hmm.
but 173 pounds, it's not a lot of weight.
That's true.
That's
Well, it's a
actually-
bunch of, like, points, but one Wishy-Washy is 0.7 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a lot of Wishy-Washies.
Yeah.
Also, I love when you
Yeah.
look in his mouth, you can see the glowing eyes.
But
of all the
it's like a
Wishy-Washy.
summary. I think it looks very tanky. It looks like, because it's like, why put them together?
Well,
Why-
there's also we don't know how its ability works. We know it can revert back.
Yeah.
So what if every time he takes damage, he starts getting smaller and smaller?
Well, that's what I thought
of
they were gonna do.
Form, kind of like
Oh, that'd be cool.
Think of it kind of like a shield or a substitute,
Yeah.
where maybe he takes half damage when he's in this form.
But it's still,
Until
that
you're
is
hitting it.
that is tanky, though. He's tanky until you get him down.
Yeah, I feel like we're not
That's
really
true.
going to be able
That's
to
true.
understand what he does until we actually get him in game and get more specifics about his ability.
That's true.
Yeah,
That
they're
is-
But
being-
he's one I'm going to be keeping my eye on because he's very interesting to me.
Yeah, they're very cryptic with this guy.
that is true. He's very tanky. I do like how it's called a small fry Pokemon. Now I hope that this form doesn't. My one wish is that when he goes into the school form, that his his move does not change. You know how like with Pikachu, when you change like his clothes, he became like.
Yeah, he
No,
gained the
I think he'll stay the same.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I hope
think-
it stays
yeah.
the same.
I think it'll be the same.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that's been a thing now lately when Pokemon evolve and.
Yeah, like certain moves will change their typing or what they
Yeah.
do. Kind
No.
of like Koopa has a move like that.
Yep.
I think he'll stay the same.
Yeah, I probably think he'll stay the same too. I don't think he'll have like he might have like one move that changes. But
No, he's a must-have for me.
Yeah, he's a cool one.
See, my
So-
original idea for him was that you have to catch multiple ones.
Oh, we skipped these guys.
Yeah, we did. We forgot about him.
Okay, so let's talk about hold on, I wrote down his name. Let me look at it really quick.
I don't know their names
Because
either.
like these three don't have their English names yet. The first one is Oguma, which is the preview for Beware.
Fuck Beware. Freaking-
I
Can
gotta
you-
say, first thing I gotta say about it is this is the first bear to walk on all four legs.
Oh, yeah.
Teddiursa,
He does.
Kapshu,
They're all bipedal. You're right.
Panchant, yeah, they all walk
Yeah.
on two legs.
That's true.
I love his design. He totally looks like a red panda.
Yeah, the pre-evolution looks good. Not
Now-
the evolution.
Well, I'm gonna give it a
Like
chance.
I will say, like I've said this before, but Beware, if he didn't have the weird headband looking ears,
Yes.
I would be fine with him.
Yes.
I'm gonna
It's like,
tell you
it looks
why.
a little better on Oguma.
Yes,
but-
because he has the ring around his
he's got a
head,
ring around
and
his
then
face,
his
and then the
ears
separate
are
ears
actually.
and the-
Yeah, but
Yeah, and the
what
nose.
what if this is the female form and the male form looks more like this?
Well, then they need to show that.
Well, what I'm saying is, in the anime, Torkoal in the game Torkoal looks normal. In the anime, when Torkoal gets pissed off, same thing with Camera Up. They change. They completely change. They look like sweet, nice Pokemon until they get pissed off. So what if this is one of those Pokemon that when he gets angry, right?
Mm-hmm.
He
He
changes
changes
his
his form.
appearance?
So what if that pink turns into red?
Oh, I might actually like it then.
Yeah, because the Torkoal already does this. When Torkoal looks, it's always smiling in the anime, but when he gets a critical hit, he changes. He starts erupting. You can physically see lava coming out of its back. Same thing with.
Why doesn't that happen in the games now? Since we actually have like a lot of the new Pokemon have emphasis on the fact that they change at certain points during fights.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really kind of wish they brought that in because that would look really cool.
Well, that's why I like watching the anime because you see some Pokemon are lame when you first look at them in the game, and when you go into the anime, they kind of change.
Yeah, it's like I'll say that for a lot of the trailers we've seen, where we've seen pictures of them before the trailers came out, and they looked very like the trailer where they showed Grandpa and stuff like that. Is like I was looking at just screenshots before, and it's like all these Pokemon look very boring, and then they started moving, and they looked very good.
Yep.
All right.
All right, and then the next ones we
our
have...
last two Pokemon in evolution line of Tsunaba and Shirodezuna, which are both sandcastles, and from people I've talked to, they very much hate them.
Yeah.
The second one, that means castle. Like, his name actually means castle.
Yeah.
And I know this because I watch a fuck ton of anime.
Yeah.
So I know that his name literally is castle. So I want to see how they change his name. Because in English, they're not just going to call it castle. So I think his name's going to be
a lot of names are different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're both Ghost Ground types. The only other type that has that is Golett and Golurk. Yep. I will say I do like these guys. I know a lot of people hate the I'm based on a non-living thing Pokemon.
He's a ghost type, though.
Yeah.
They can get away with that with ghost types.
I like this. And I like you said, a lot of people hate them because they're like, oh, they're like Chandelier. I'm like, Chandelier works perfect. Then people are like...
He was a great Pokemon. I really like his appearance and everything.
Honedge, I like a mask. Like, I think it's really... If you use a ghost type and you make it an inanimate object...
Yeah, it's the possession thing.
Possesses. I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like... And also, I like these guys because a lot of... like, there's a lot of Pokemon that are supposed to disguise themselves as things. And they are very obviously a Pokemon. These guys, I can actually very much look at them and go... I could mistake that for just a sandcastle. You know, the eyes are pretty hidden.
And in this picture, it shows a Pikachu falling for...
Yeah, it's like it's grabbing the Pikachu and it's pulling it down into its little hole. It's like, and I actually, I read the bios on these guys, and it's kind of hilarious how they work. Like, the little guy is... the big guy will grab Pokemon and pull them under, and then the leftover grudges will inhabit the sand and become the little guys again, which then evolve into more big guys, and that's their life cycle, which is kind of hilarious.
Also, and I bring this up because you brought Honedge into this. Every ghost type after Spiritomb has been based on a cursed object from horror, or what would you call that genre? Horror, right?
Horror, yeah.
Like story ghost kind of.
Yeah, we got a sarcophagus. We got we got ancient weapons.
Everything is based like Honedge is based on a cursed blade from Indonesia, and I love that. That is so cool. And this is based on a tale in Hawaii of sand. There's tales of sand that just completely suck people in, and when the people come out, they come out cursed, zombified, vampire-like. It depends on who's telling the story. Okay. And I like this a lot because in this picture you see a Pikachu getting sucked in, and in here it says a grudge that dwells inside a pile of sand turns into a Pokemon. So that means that at one point this was normal sand, and somebody was so angry, maybe they died on it, that maybe their soul, maybe their grudge, like that says, transfers to the Pokemon, and now we have that Pokemon because of that. And that's how ghost type should be. A ghost type should not be a Pokemon that it's just a ghost type for no reason.
Right.
I think
that's part of my reason with the Cubone thing is like a Cubone would have no reason to be a ghost, but it could be possessed as it evolves because of its close connections.
Oh, like Bennett. Bennett's a beautiful example. It's dull. You know, that whole line. So I think ghost types should always be like this. It should be on animate objects or Pokemon that died. Like that theory that Clefable and
the Gengar link.
And Gengar. I think that's beautiful. If a Clefable dies, it should become a... Because that's what ghost types are. Yeah. And that's why...
I feel like that's what they wanted to say, but they didn't
have the guts to.
Yeah, it was so early.
Now, this right here, I can see this being a powerhouse, like...
Or I can imagine this thing taking serious hits.
Yeah. Like, which is funny because we don't have that many, like, other than Golett, we don't have that many tank ghost types.
Yeah.
There's not just that many.
Yeah, ghosts are very lightweight, basically, because they are very lightweight, but this is made up of sand, and sand can be very heavy.
Yeah,
it's like it's
50 kilograms.
Yeah, it's like the one thing I wish we knew was its ability, because that would give us a better idea of what it could do combat-wise.
I think it's going to have an arena trap.
I could see that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Arena Trap is also a very scary ability, especially in meta, because if you can't switch out and you switch in this guy into something that he can take real easy, like say Mega Charizard X. He might be able to take that out with just an Earthquake. Depending on how much power this guy's got.
I like that. I think if it has Arena Trap for competitive, this will become a monster very easily, especially depending on what types of moves you learn.
Yeah, it's like I can imagine Earthquake and stuff like that.
Because Curse and Earthquake, it's already. I mean, any Ghost style with Curse, as long as it can take hits.
If it's got recovery too, that'd be good.
Yeah.
It's like if it's got some form of recovery move, maybe like Slack Off or something, and then you use Curse. Curse never really sees play because of that HP cup. If you have a way to mitigate it, it could be one of the few Pokemon that could actually use Curse effectively.
Because even with a leftover, I still don't think that.
Yeah, we need an actual recovery move.
Yep.
And so you want to go into hyper training real quick, and then we'll talk about the last thing.
Yeah.
All right. So there was, I think it was in a V-Jump, they talked about hyper training a little bit and what exactly the silver bottle caps do. Their example they gave was they had 3 different Garchomps, and they gave each of them a silver bottle cap in their attack stat, and all of their attack stats maxed out the same level, even though they were all different to begin with. So by the looks of things, a silver bottle cap maxes 1 stats IVs. I think one of them was even a 30 and just went up by 1, so it went to 31. They also mentioned that there might be a gold bottle cap, but they didn't specify what it is or what it does. So there might be one that boosts everything. I'm imagining it's a lot rarer than a silver, but that's really all we got on hyper training. Is just
that goes with what you're talking about. Is it gonna stack with EV training, and it doesn't look like it if it takes it up to its
IVs and
max.
EVs are separate. So
it looks like you can IV train.
It takes the IV to the max. So if you max that same stats EVs, then it will be its maximum potential if you do both.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay.
I guess you can break it.
I just hope it doesn't break the game.
It won't,
because I know
it'll make shinies more relevant. Because now I can take all my really badly IV'd shinies and train them up using hyper training, and I can actually use them because I have a shiny version of my Klefki and my Trevenant and my Lopunny is actually fine. He's 31 and everything except speed, which is a 30.
That pony needs to get deleted. That thing, your Lopunny needs to get deleted. That thing wrecked my whole team.
Hey, I like my Lopunny. But yeah, I bred shiny versions of all my team. I just don't use them because their IVs aren't good. I'd love to actually have be able to use them on my team instead. So it's that's one of the reasons I'm really excited for hyper training.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what direction it goes to. So I just want to know, is it going to break the game or not? That's my literally.
It'll just make it faster to get really good Pokemon, and you'll be able to use your starters on your teams now instead of having to breed a new one unless you want egg moves. So it's it gives a lot. It gives the Pokemon using your team actual viability later in games, so you can have, you can actually use them in the battle facilities and whatever, and do good with them instead of them just being these dead weights after you're done with the story mode. Okay. So I think it has a lot of potential for both the competitive players and the players who just really like playing the game and having their own teams, because it gives their Pokemon new life after the game.
Okay. All right, and the last thing we have to talk about is Team Skull. It says,
Woo.
In the Alola region, a group of ruffians known as Team Skull cause a lot of trouble. They steal other people's Pokemon, mess up the trail sites, and delight in all kinds of evil deeds.
I like these guys. I think they're I love seeing them in motion because they're very charming in my opinion.
I will say
it's a goofy charming.
This might be the team that finally beats Team Rocket for me, because no team has beat. Well, Team Flare. The thing that made Team Rocket great is that they didn't have one specific goal. They just did evil things.
Yeah, they were just a crime organization.
Yeah, they were just assholes.
And everyone else has kind of been we're this organized, not even a crime group. We're this organized group of people trying to complete a goal. These guys are just gangsters.
I call them.
I kind of love that.
To me, they're like Team Rocket 2.0, and that's why I love them. The way they dress,
they look like just thugs. They don't look like an organized team. They look like a gang.
I love the description of the grunts. It's they have to buy all their own uniforms.
Yeah,
but they all do it because they just love the team or whatever.
And that's cool because, okay, so first of all, that makes me think that, and because of all the Kanto mentions, I hope that somewhere in the game they tell you how they look up to Team Rocket or something.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because the Pokemon they use, the way they dress, This Team Skull, the first thing that comes to my mind is a Coughing, not only because of Pokemon Dungeon, but because Coughing has the little skull bones.
Yeah,
and we saw one of them already using, I think one of them used a Zubat.
Yeah, we saw one of them using a Zubat, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I love that a lot, and it makes me think even more now that they might have a connection with Team Rocket, and I love that idea. So I feel like this team's going to be top-notch for me.
Yeah, one other thing I like about them is they feel like a very much a startup like team. They're not like the other teams feel like, Team Rocket seems like they've had years of experience behind them. Team Aqua and Team Aqua and Magma, the same thing. They feel like they've been around for a while. They've been building up this organization. They got money behind them. These guys are just a bunch of punks, and I kind of love the fact that they're just trying to, they're just messing things up, and they're not this huge they're kind of organized, but they're not like a huge organized group or anything like in the same way that the other groups are.
No, I agree. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
So they showed the boss, Team Guzma, or Boss Guzma.
Is it Guzma or Guzma?
I don't know. It's one of those two. And they say he seems strong, but he claims to be one of those who never could become captains.
Yeah, he was talking in the trailer to Professor Kukui and saying that both of them never could become captains. So I guess they both tried to be trial captains and couldn't?
Yeah. Or maybe someone else just beat him to it.
Yeah.
It makes you think that maybe he's not the final boss, though, of the whole team. I think there might be somebody else.
What it can also be
a string puller.
It can also be one of those things where maybe him and his friend, maybe somebody who became a team like a trial captain was his best friend, and he couldn't cut it. They might cut into that. Because remember, Pokemon games as of lately have been very storyline driven, and I feel like maybe him and his friend were both going for the position, while his friend values Pokemon as friends. Maybe he sees them as tools, and I think it might be one of those things. Because the last 3 games, the last 3 region games have been that story right there, where your rival doesn't value them as friend, or somebody near you just see them as weapons or tools, and you, of course, you're the main character, you see them as friends, whatever. I think that might be one of those things.
Okay. Then we got the girl, Plumeria.
Plumeria?
Yeah.
We just call her Perona.
Yeah. They say she's the big sister of the team. Looks like she's just like an admin.
Yeah, she's protective of the grunts who are apparently all dumb.
Which is cool because she actually looks out for them. So it's actually like they have family of thugs.
Yeah, you know what they could do too? And I know that this is very far-fetched. They could be thuggins, like thugs, that start out as thugs, and maybe as the story goes by, they become allies. Maybe there's a big catastrophe. I mean, there's islands, and we know there's a volcanic area. If a Pokemon like Lunala decides to go crazy, you're going to need help stopping them. So how cool would it be? Because when you read their description, they're not, like you said, they're not Team Magma who are trying to, get rid of all the water.
They're just causing havoc. They don't have an organized, maybe the eventual goal is, hey, let's take control of this Pokemon and cause major havoc. That could be their connection.
I think they're just there to. It looks like they failed as trying to become one of the captains, and they're just fucking up everybody else from doing it. They just don't want anybody to be successful. That's what it looks like. They look like a bunch of failures to me that are just trying to.
See, and I like that though, because what if they end up turning and end up helping you into the story? That'll be a lot different than all the other games. And like I said, they're stealing Pokemon, but there's nothing in here that says they see them as tools. Team Flare and all the other teams have seen the Pokemon as tools, as weapons, all these things. But it's very odd that they don't say this. Instead, they're stealing Pokemon from other teams, kind of like in what team did that? Black and White.
Plasma.
Plasma. They weren't trying to steal Pokemon. They were just asking the humans to release the Pokemon.
Well, that's what they said they were doing. Yeah. They technically the big boss was stealing them.
Yeah, and they steal that Leopard.
They gripped that.
Yeah.
Sad.
But I do love this. I'm in love with this team, and if what I'm saying ends up being true, this will forever be my favorite team. And that guy, usually the boss looks very whoever the big boss is,
in a suit.
He's always wearing a suit.
Except Archie.
He's always
Yeah, he looks very menacing.
He looks like he's a Pokemon trainer. He legit looks like he's just a Pokemon trainer a couple years older. That's why I think he has potential to actually end up having a change of heart.
What if he does become a captain though? He does something good and they make him
that's
a
what I'm
captain.
saying.
That'd be a great redemption for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This team does not scream evil to me. Even when you read they tell you they create chaos, but they don't tell you exactly what it is. They steal Pokemon, but I'm like, that can be redeemable.
Yeah.
Especially if by the end of the story they do something to help the hero. Maybe if all these trial captains help you. Remember in Black and White 2 when all the gym leaders came together to help you.
If it happens in Black and White 1 too.
Oh, Black and White is it 1? When they all do that, but what if they do that in this game? They failed and then they come in. I think that'll be really cool. So
that would be neat. It's like I would like to see a team with some redemptive quality because we don't really get that.
Yeah,
so like we get a little bit of stuff, but like
you always get like a grunt or something that kind of wants to. It helps you out or.
Like Lysander had a little bit of that in the last game.
After he destroyed half a city.
N was like that. He had his redemptive moments, but he was also built up from the beginning to be like that. Yeah. So like you're kind of expecting it.
So like I said, I love the design for him. I think he has the coolest design of all his team. The big sister thing, very weird name. But in a gang though, like if you're thinking about a game, you will call somebody like that big sister. So that's why I think they're more of a gang than organized crime, and I like that so much. So.
Yeah, it's a very different team for a very different setting, and I think it works very well. Yep. A lot of areas in there.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for you today. I think we pretty much covered everything that came out this last week.
About a week and a half.
Yeah, everything. So comment below, guys. Let us know what you think, your thoughts on all this new information, the new Alolan Pokemon, Team Skull, Hyper Training, all that good stuff. And we'll be back next time there's more information with another discussion. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.